BSNL.
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 Bhai saab, nahi lunga. That's the first thought that pops into everyone's mind whenever those four letters are mentioned. But suddenly, it becomes the talk of the town. Social media is flooded with hashtags like #BSNL ki ghar wapsi and video clips showcasing the shift. But despite its well-known struggles with poor network coverage and sluggish customer support, why are so many users suddenly porting into BSNL? Is it nostalgia, or has the state-run telecom company made a comeback with new offerings? Have recent reforms or competitive pricing from the other players made BSNL more appealing? Or is it a part of larger movement to support local government-backed services? Could BSNL finally be addressing its network issues, or is this just temporary hype? What's really driving this wave of porting? Let's dive into the story of rise, fall, and comeback of BSNL. The rise to glory. The inception of this telecom giant goes way back, all the way to British India, when the telegraphs were the main form of communications controlled by the British government. But as soon as India gained independence, the responsibilities were handed over to the Department of Telecommunications, or DOT. Now, DOT, along with its subsidiaries, started expanding telecom services across India, running telephone lines through major cities like Delhi and Mumbai. But here's where things get interesting. When private sector players like Modi Telstra and Hutch SR started gaining ground, the government made a big move. They decided to split DOT into two companies, which could be DOT, which focused on policies, and DTS, which was responsible for telecom services. Fast forward to October 6, 2000, and boom, the government rebrands DTS as BSNL. And let me tell you, nobody was ready for the storm that was about to hit the Indian telecom industry. BSNL wasn't just rebranding. They had a mission, and that was to provide network coverage in rural areas, something private players were completely ignoring back then. Now remember this point about rural coverage, because it might just be BSNL's secret weapon in the fight to the top once again. Back in the day, the focus wasn't on profit. It was all about connecting people faster. Oh, speaking of connections, do you remember BSNL's tagline? If you do, comment down below, and no cheating, no Googling. But here's the crazy part. Despite not chasing profits, BSNL pulled in over 700 crore rupees in their first year. They were riding high from 2003 to 2007, going neck and neck with the top player Bharti Airtel. And in 2007 alone, BSNL saw a massive 75.58% growth compared to the previous year. And man, they really lived up to their tagline, connecting Bharat. You know how sometimes things look solid from the outside, but underneath, they were cracking. That's what happened to BSNL. The fast pace was just a shell, and inside, things started to crumble, eventually leading to their downfall. But here's one thing that shouldn't fall: that subscribe count. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and don't miss out on any future video. We got more to come. What went wrong with BSNL? So, BSNL was actually a profit-making machine up until 2007. But what happened after that? What changed? I mean, think about it. It was India's largest telco by revenue and subscribers until 2006 to 7, and had over 75 million customers, brought in a whooping 39,750 crores in revenue, and posted a solid net profit of 7,805 crores. BSNL was on top of the world, but fast forward just 2 years and boom, they are reporting their very first loss, 1,822.65 crores in 2009 to 10. So what exactly changed in that time? Let's break it down. First, limited expansion in the year 2006 and 7. BSNL had to expand, but guess what? The government cut their request for new lines, while private companies like Airtel were sprinting ahead. BSNL, meanwhile, started falling behind at a serious disadvantage. Second, ban on Chinese equipments. While private companies were free to buy from any vendor they wanted, BSNL got blocked from using Chinese equipments over security concerns. By that time, the ban was lifted in the year 2010, BSNL had already lost a huge chunk of market share. Third, the change in funding structure. Remember the access deficit charge? It was there to help BSNL with rural service. But then it got replaced by the Universal Service Obligation USO, and here's the kicker. BSNL, instead of receiving funds, had to start contributing to the fund. That's like going from getting help to having to give it. Fourth, higher spectrum costs. BSNL had to pay higher prices for spectrum allocation, while private companies got exemptions. Financial pressure, check. Fifth, CDMA spectrum loss. BSNL poured money into building a nationwide CDMA network, and then bam, they were forced to return their 800 MHz spectrum. All that investment down the drain. Not to mention the extra cost of shifting their customers to lower grade networks. And just when you think things couldn't get worse, there's the infamous 2G scam. This one's big. Telecom Minister A. Raja distributed 2G spectrum license to private companies, but here's the thing. It wasn't auctioned properly. Instead, it was all about favoritism, a first-come, first-served basis, and this shady deal caused alleged loss of 30,984 crores to the government. You can see why BSNL, stuck in this mess, was sinking fast. By 2010, their market share had dropped to just 11.39%. Compare that to Airtel, which was leading with 20.84%, and Vodafone and Reliance both way ahead with around 17%. BSNL was falling behind fast. So whether it was corruption or just a lack of effort, by 2010, BSNL's ship had officially started sinking. After running profitably for 10 years, the crack began to show. The first reported loss in FY 2010, 1,800 crores. And it just kept getting worse. By FY 24, that loss skyrocketed to over 5,371 crores. Major projects were delayed or outright cancelled because of investigation following the allegations. It was a mess. But here's the twist. The real shark in the ocean hadn't arrived yet. And let me tell you, this shark didn't care who it was up against. You probably guessed it by now, and the shark was Jio. Jio didn't just become a problem for BSNL, it practically devoured every competitor in its path. The Jio storm. So you have probably heard the saying, the calm before the storm. Well, we all lived through that until September 5, 2016, when the shark arrived. Reliance Industries launched Jio 4G, and the telecom industry, it got hit by a thunderstorm. Jio announced something that no one had seen before: unlimited internet with no data cap, and get this, speeds of nearly 20 Mbps, and at that time, we were all struggling with merely 1 Mbps. But here's the part that blew everyone away. You could use all these services for free. No hidden charges, no tricky terms and conditions. This offer flipped the telecom world upside down. Big players like Airtel, Vodafone and Idea took massive hits, while the others like Aircel, Tata Docomo, Telenor and MTS, they were completely knocked out of the scene, crushed under the weight of the Jio storm. And yeah, they tried to fight back. They even filed complaints with TRAI, saying it was unfair competition. TRAI did investigations, but in the end, the decision went in Jio's favor. Meanwhile, Jio kept giving away free internets for almost half a year, while everyone else was sinking. Only 3 players managed to survive, and even Vodafone, the world's second largest network by the subscribers, had to merge with Idea just to stay afloat. Call it favoritism or genius strategy, but the Indian telecom service was changed forever. Where there were once 15 players, today we were down to just 4. During the storm, BSNL, it completely lost its way. They were left only with 8.16% market share, while everyone else was rushing to upgrade their networks to compare with Jio's speed. BSNL was still stuck with 3G and in some areas even 2G. And here's a fun fact for you. MTNL, a BSNL subsidiary, was actually the first player to introduce 3G in India. Crazy, right? But here's the thing, it's not just the outdated network. The customer support from BSNL has been another disaster. While Jio and Airtel offer quick and efficient service, BSNL, they'll keep you waiting forever. Let me share two personal experiences to show you what I mean. One time, I had a Jio plan that came with an OTT membership and it accidentally got removed. Not only did Jio solve my issue quickly, but they even extended my plan's validity for free. Now, that's customer service. And on the other hand, with BSNL, I once applied for this Wi-Fi service and wow, it was a nightmare. First, you have to physically go to their office to submit the application just to set it up. And if you ever had an issue, you gotta visit them again. Write an application and wait. And when I wanted to disconnect the service, another trip to the office for yet another application. I swear, I spent more time in BSNL's office writing applications than I did using their actual service. So with all these issues, it's no wonder what people say, why should I choose BSNL? But here's the thing, like it or not, we still need BSNL. So why do we still need BSNL? Well, the answer is staring right at us. Remember when Jio recently hiked their tariff up by 25% and then Airtel and Vodafone Idea followed suit? The internet went wild with memes, and I am sure you saw those comments on Anand Ambani's pre-wedding celebration where people were saying, "Shadi inki ho rahi hai, payment hum kar rahe hain." Basically, we are the ones footing the bill. See, Jio is the trendsetter in the market. Once they raise prices, the others follow. But this is exactly where BSNL step in and shines. When all the operators hiked their prices, BSNL didn't. In fact, BSNL was the only network that didn't increase tariff, and because of that, they put pressure on Jio and the others to introduce more affordable plans for the public. Now imagine if BSNL could actually provide similar service quality as the others. It would act as a check on these big players, forcing them to keep their prices in line. Otherwise, we'll all start shifting to BSNL. The comeback. Alright, the comeback story of BSNL begins the moment Jio introduced its latest price hike compared to their older plans. Earlier, Jio's most popular plan costs Rs 666 for 84 days, offering 1.5 GB of 4G data per day. Now, that same plan will cost you Rs 799, but here's where BSNL steps in. The same plan from BSNL, it costs you just Rs 485 and gives you 2 GB data per day. Yup, more data, less money. Now the only real edge Jio has is the unlimited 5G services, something BSNL hasn't rolled out just yet. And it's not just this one plan. BSNL's pricing across the board is much more affordable, whether it's annual or monthly plans. This whole tariff hike sparked hashtags like hashtag BSNL ki ghar wapsi, hashtag boycott Jio on X, igniting a wave of nostalgia and comeback energy for BSNL. But hold on, this isn't the only reason BSNL is staging a comeback. The real kicker is the support they are getting from the government. The Union Cabinet approved a massive revival package for Rs 89,047 crores for BSNL, including 4G and 5G spectrum allocations through equity infusion. That's not all. BSNL's authorized capital is also increasing from Rs 1.5 lakh crores to Rs 2.1 lakh crore. Yeah, that's some serious money. If that's not enough for a comeback, BSNL has also partnered with none other than Tata. Yup, TCS signed Rs 15,000 crores deal to help BSNL deliver fast internet across India. With BSNL's aiming to provide 4G services pan-India by the end of 2024 and 5G by 2025, there's serious hope that we'll see BSNL's making wave again. But hope brings pain, right? The comeback might seem more talk and less action right now. As we record this, BSNL's network is still inconsistent and 4G is spotty, mostly working in their Tier 1 cities. I mean, BSNL sells SIM cards labeled 5G already, but in the reality, you might not even get 3G speeds. Here's a twist. Recently, BSNL introduced a new logo and launched some exciting services to enhance the user experience. Spam blocking solutions, which filters unwanted calls and messages, enhanced broadband plans for better speed and better reliability, new prepaid plans which are competitive and customer friendly, international roaming services for staying connected globally, cloud storage services for a secure online storage for your data, and AI-powered customer support, instant help through AI-driven responses.
By the time we are recording this video, BSNL has teamed up with YSAT to bring a new service that helps people make phone calls, send messages, and use UPI to pay money in places where there is no mobile signal or Wi-Fi. Not just that, BSNL has made India's first fiber-based intranet TV service. This means you can watch live TV without using your internet data. Even if your internet is off, the TV will still work perfectly.
With new partnerships, government fundings, and fresh initiatives, things are looking up for BSNL. But as the saying goes, with great powers come great responsibilities, and BSNL needs to avoid the pitfall of the past. Here at Mobile App Daily, we are rooting for BSNL to pull off the ultimate comeback story. And who knows, maybe next time you will be rocking a BSNL SIM card as your primary network. Oh, before you go, just don't sit there like a BSNL landline waiting for a dial tone. Hit that subscribe button and follow us so you don't miss out on a unique tech story.